Hello everyone and welcome back to Poetry Surprises. Well, the weather today is not so fantastic. It's kind of a grey lockdown day, so I'm staying indoors for the time being. So I thought I'd go back to the origin of Poetry Surprises, which was reading you poems that I wrote for the book Rogue Seed, which is about a long period of time spent in isolation in the south of France. And what I'd like to do today is speak about the sky. Now, the reason I want to read poems about the sky at the moment is because I can't see it. It's as grey as anything outside there. What you do see when you're in the middle of the French countryside is a lot of stars and planets. And since I was a kid in London, I was always fascinated by the night sky, the stories associated with it, the constellations, trying to do a bit of astronomy through a cheap and rather awful telescope. But you're defeated in London by the glare, the light, the fog, the pollution. Then you come to Scotland and you think, yes, I'm going to look at the sky tonight. But in the winter, it's very cold and the nights are long and it's quite often cloudy and wet and windy. Not very good for watching the sky. In the summer, the temperature's better. But up here in Castle Douglas, where I am at the moment, even now, it's not getting dark till 11 o'clock. And in a month's time, it won't be getting dark at all. Again, not very good for doing your astronomy. But in the south of France, you're 10 degrees further south, and therefore you get evenings, even in the summer, when you can really enjoy the night sky, the Milky Way. And, you know, it was quite fascinating because when you look up at the stars coming from a city, and you look up at the stars in the countryside where there are so many more, you get completely confused because there are just so many. Picking out those constellations you knew when you could only see the very brightest stars is much more difficult. So it's quite a fascinating experience, and you feel in much closer contact with the cosmos. Anyway, I'm going to read you two poems. There are quite a lot of poems in Rogue Seed about the sky, but I just want to read a couple. And the first one is about an experience which is interesting because it was a first ever. The poem's called Messenger, and it's about seeing Mercury for the first time. Remembering what I said earlier, you know, about pollution and light pollution and the like in London, I'd never seen Mercury. I'd often look for it in the evening sky, but not possible to see it. So here I am in the south of France, going for a long walk in the evening, and guess what I see on the horizon just after sunset? Here's the poem Messenger. The evening's set mischief free. He taps my shoulder. To meet so late, this quicksilver trickster poised on a poplar as I climb a hill. He dances down from Venus. I hold my breath until I turn into shadow. When I rub my eyes, he's gone. Not sure where. Was he ever there? And the second poem I want to read is a slightly more autumnal poem. You know how when you go on a walk and distant things hold their position, whereas things that are nearer you move as you're walking? So it looks as if, for example, the stars are stationary, but they're moving behind houses and parallax. It's called actually, but anyway. This poem is about that effect. It's called Suspense. On the long walk home, among owls and nightjars, Argo, sailing overhead, drops silver twine to plumb the sky. Into conifer forest, along the road's edge, through the orchard, dragging on the ripped-up railway line, by the signal box where oil and turpentine were stored, over platform, station yard, spooling among vines, sunflower stubble, onto the new bridge, over the invisible stream, and down the chimney of a small house where, suspended in this box of tricks called night, my log fire burns. Well, I hope you enjoyed those two poems. I'll be back tomorrow. I want to do the shortest poem I've ever written. And I was going to do it today, but the weather's not agreeable enough. I want a bit of blue sky, so who knows, could be next year now before I manage to get to do it. But I will be back, and if I can, I'll be out of doors and I'll be looking at the shortest poem I've ever written. Bye for now.